Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's April 24th, 2025, and we're once again going to go look through my father's stamp collection. If you've been following along, every Thursday I have been going through his album called The Americas, Everything But Canada and the US, and we've been going alphabetically, and we've been looking at the stamps that he's been able to collect and the stamps that I have collected since, and we've been giving you a little history, too, about that country. So, if you're interested in that, make sure you like, you subscribe, you leave positive comments, you share with other people, and you put the notification bell on so you don't miss out on anything. Well, this week, we're talking about the Republic of Haiti. Haiti's got a special place in my heart because I did have a chance at one point in my life to go down there on a mission trip. And so we'll probably talk a little bit about that later on. And so I want to get into Haiti itself. Well, Haiti, or as it was known before, was part of Hispaniola. We've touched on that island nation when we talked about another country. If you don't remember, well, we're going to start here. And so the capital of Haiti is Port-au-Prince. The main language it speaks is French, or French Creole, depending on where you are. It's the western 3/8 of the island of Hispaniola. So the other half, or the other, not half, but the rest of the island is the Dominican Republic. If you're going back and looking at my videos, that's one you may want to look about. It was occupied for about 6,000 years with local tribes that had come up from the northern part of South America. This island originally was divided into 5 chiefdoms, so we had a bunch of different tribes in that area. In 1492, Christopher Columbus came along and landed in Haiti, in Mole Saint-Nicolas. And then 19 days later, his ship, the Santa Maria, ran aground, and that was near the present site of Cap Haitian. 39 men were left to form a settlement of La Navidad, and those settlers were later all killed by the local tribe of the Tano. In 1507, a smallpox epidemic broke out in Hispaniola, which killed a lot of people. Hispaniola was used as a trading and a refueling post for transporting riches from other Spanish colonies, and as a result, piracy was rampant around there, especially helped and encouraged by Spain's enemies. So England and France were kind of helping out in that part. The Spanish abandoned the western third of Hispaniola and focused on colonizing the rest. And so the French came along and they moved into the western part for growing tobacco. And it was colonized by families brought in from Martinique and Guadeloupe. In 1697, the Treaty of Ryswick divided Hispaniola between France and Spain to end hostilities. The French and their portion, they turned it and called it Santo Domingo. France imported slaves to work the sugar and coffee plantations, becoming France's richest colony, which was 40% of their foreign trade and was double the wealth of all of England's colonies combined. In 1788, there was a 10-to-1 ratio of slaves to French settlers. So 25,000 Europeans, 22,000 free coloreds, and 700,000 African slaves. The slaves were able to keep a lot of their culture and religion and languages because of the constant influx of new slaves coming in. Voodoo and Catholicism started to meld together as the two religions were practiced simultaneously. Santo Domingo was described as one of the most brutally efficient slave colonies, driving 2/3 of European tropical fruit or tropical produce, but had 1/3 new slaves died every few years. So they didn't last very long when staying there. The first of the colonies were clear cut to maximize the plantation space, so it destroyed the environment and the species habitat. The land was just devastated. From 1791 to 1804, Haiti went through a revolution. So inspired by the French Revolution of 1789, French settlers and free people of color demanded more rights and political freedoms. In 1791, the first slave armies were established in the north, led by Toussaint Louverture, and backed by Spanish in Santo Domingo, that started the slave revolution. 1792, French government sent commissioners with troops to try to regain control. They dangled the carrot of abolition of slavery. The U.S. support for the rebellion waffled back and forth between who was president. If the president was pro-slavery, then it was going to not help the Haitian rebels, and vice versa. John Adams, who was anti-slavery, sent the USS Constitution in 1798 to help in the Revolution. But in 1801, Jefferson became president, and he recalled the Navy because he was in favor of slavery. Toussaint Louverture pledged allegiance to France when they decided to abolish slavery throughout the French colonies. In 1795, Spanish ceded the rest of Hispaniola to France. In 1802, Louverture created a separatist constitution and proclaimed himself the Governor-General for life, which usually means his life is going to be very short. Napoleon Bonaparte sends 40,000 troops and sailors to regain control, led by his brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc. Within a few months, they mostly died of yellow fever. Louverture was captured, though, and brought back to France to set trial, but in 1803 he died of tuberculosis or exposure. This was the first state to get independence through a slave revolution in 1803. During the revolution, 20,000 troops died of yellow fever. That's French troops. 37,000 were killed in action. But the colony got independence. 350,000 ex-enslaved slaves died. In 1804, Santo Domingo was renamed Haiti. Jean-Jacques Dessalines decided he'd become emperor for life. 1804, he ordered genocide of all remaining whites in the country. From January to April of 1804, 5,000 whites were killed. The only ones to be spared were Polish deserters from the military. So the French brought in Polish troops, and a lot of them deserted and helped with the Haitians in the revolution. So they were spared from being executed. Germans that were there, for some reason, were also spared, and doctors and professionals were also spared. And for white women, if they agreed to marry a non-white, they were spared. In 1806, Dessalines was assassinated, so his rule for life only lasted 2 years. 1809, Spain retakes the center, the eastern part of the island, so Dominican Republic part. Western side ruled in two parts, the north and the south. So there was a dividing faction between in Haiti between the two sides. So north, which were a lot more slaves, the south down by Port-au-Prince, the capital, was free coloreds and remaining whites that were there, some Europeans, or as they called them too, mulattoes, if they had been mixed with whites and blacks. In 1821, President Jean-Pierre Boyer of Haiti wants to reunify the island with Santo Domingo. He declares when they declared independence from Spain. In 1826, France officially recognizes Haiti as an independent country with a payment of 150 million francs, that's all. So as long as Haiti paid them 150 million francs, France would recognize them as an independent nation. They decided to do that, which crippled their economy. 80% of their national GDP was going to pay the debt, and that debt didn't get repaid until 1947. That's when they were done. Largely because a lot of other nations like Britain and the United States didn't recognize Haiti as a country. Britain not till 1833, and the United States not till 1862. So they borrowed heavily with high interest rates from Western banks, and it took them forever to repay that debt. 1844, eastern part of the island regains its independence. Over the next few years, Haiti tries and fails to regain control of the Dominican Republic as much as it wants to. Several leaders start to change. In Haiti, they can't keep a leader, so might change over and over the next few decades. Both the U.S. and Germany want to have some sort of control over Haiti. It's a key point for them. In 1889, the U.S. tried. In 1902, the Germans tried with some gunboat diplomacy, if you will, both trying to get bases put on there. In 1915, though, President Wilson sends troops into Haiti. A new pro-U.S. president is established, so they put their own guy in control of Haiti. They also rewrite the Constitution, which was rewritten by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a future president of the United States, and he says that foreign ownership of Haitian land is okay, which it wasn't before that point. So there's going to be a lot of tensions now with Haitians. They didn't want that. The legislature didn't want that, but the U.S. did, so that's what happened. From 1915 to 1934, they are occupied by the United States. They build roads and bridges and establish schools and hospitals, create a real infrastructure there, but also have a driving economy that's taking a lot of the resources out of Haiti and not leaving much for themselves. In 1945, Haiti becomes the founding member of the United Nations. They were also a founding member of the League of Nations, which was before that. In 1957, more political unrest. Leaders can't hold on to positions, but François Duvalier, also known as Papa Doc, is elected president, and he stays president until his death in 1971. He rules with an iron fist. He does not like the military, but he has his own private militia, which he calls the Bogeymen, or the Tonton Macoute, which keeps terrorizing the local people or political opposition and keeps them at bay. Even though he was a dictator, though, he was anti-communist, so the United States supported him as a leader. He started referring to himself as a Baron Samedi, which was a spirit of the Haitian voodoo religion. Upon his death in 1971, his son Jean-Claude Duvalier, or Baby Doc, becomes leader, and he rules until 1986 when he has to flee the country. So lots of dictatorships right up until that point. In 1990, Jean-Bertrand Aristide is elected president, but in 1991 there's a coup d'etat, and so he's forced to flee the country, and they rule the next little while. In 1994, the U.S. had Operations Uphold Democracy. They send in 20,000 troops, and Jean-Bertrand Aristide returns to power. Interesting to note, during that period of time, I go to Haiti. So this is a side note from the history. Myself, my sister Carolyn, and a group of people from church, we all go with New England Missions, and we head down to Haiti to help spread the gospel and do some work in the community. It is very surreal to get off an airplane and be met with look like teenagers with machine guns, because that's who's running the country at that point. They're all driving around in brand new Toyota 4Runners, because one of the things they do when they overthrow the government is they go into the local dealership and steal all the trucks and things. So that's what I saw while I was down there. What also was strange to note, would I let my kids at the age that I was go down there? I'm not sure I would. I would, at least wouldn't be happy about it, but lived in a different time, and I survived. I got a really cool experience to be there. Met some amazing people, some amazing local Haitians. One of the things I did at one point in time was go down to the beach, and I had brought jeans and things with me that I didn't need, or I had more than enough, and I left them for the locals that I made friends with, and so they could sell them or do whatever they wanted to make some money that way. Also got a love for sugar cane, because they would go in with a machete just outside the compound, and it was a compound. We had to be protected being down there. They would go into the sugar cane fields and cut fresh sugar cane for me, so that was really cool. All right, back to history. So in 1994, the U.S. brought in 20,000 troops to bring democracy back there. But also in 1994, Hurricane Gordon comes through. It kills 1,100 to 2,000 people. In 2004, when Aristide is done, Tropical Storm Jean comes through and kills another 3,000 people. Is it a coincidence that there's a storm on both ends of Aristide's reign? I don't know, but that's what happened. In 2010, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake hits Haiti. It kills between 160,000 and 300,000 people. 1.6 million people are left homeless. One of the deadliest natural disasters on record, and one of the most deadly earthquakes ever to happen in the Earth's history. And on top of all that, the UN, United Nations, sets up an aid camp down there to help with all the things that are going wrong. And they have some contaminated cholera or cholera contaminated waste that ends up in the main river, kills another 10,000 Haitians. Over another million people get sick as a result of it. And in 2016, the UN apologizes for it. But still by 2017, hadn't accepted 100% responsibility that it was their fault. For the next little while, including to today, political unrest is still happening down there. It's a dangerous place to go. It's on those watch lists. Kidnappings in 2023 went up 72% for ransom by local gangs. So unfortunately, Haiti is still one of those countries that hasn't found its base of, you look at their neighbor, the Dominican Republic, right next door. They share the same island. It's a tourist destination, beautiful, lots of things coming out of there economic-wise, and Haiti right next door is in turmoil and having so many issues. So I hope that one day those issues get resolved and they get back put on a great way for their people to survive and turn things around. Well, that is the history of the Republic of Haiti in a synopsis. Now let's look at it from a postage point of view of some of the beautiful stamps that my father and I have been able to collect. My father only had one page of stamps again, so not a lot of stamps from Haiti in his collection. But here you can see some of the older and newer ones that he's been able to put together. Nice Olympic one in there too. Some scouting ones. So a single page. Now I have been able to get some collections as well. So some older ones here. It's a really nice one there too. And you can see the connection with the United States on their stamps. And here we get a few more modern stamps. Modern is relative because these are still older stamps. These are nice ones too. There's a Churchill. And then I have a few Invarios. Well, these stamps I was lucky enough to get from Stephen in Australia. He'd sent some bird stamps in for one of our giveaways, and I said how much that I liked them, so he sent another set for me, so I've been able to keep those. So those of you that are bird lovers or Haitian stamp collectors, maybe you have these in your collection already. But I was very fortunate enough to add it to mine. And they definitely weren't something that was in my father's collection, so it was kind of nice. And you can see there the similar images, but all the different values. And here you can see some of the other stamps that I've been able to add more recently, going to the stamp shows. Maybe going through the 10 and 15 cent pages to pick out a few. And over all of them, not many duplicates. There are a few, but not many. And that's it. Another week, another country. More fascinating history, more turbulence in the economic situation in another country down there. Will it be the same next week? You probably know what country's coming. Well, stay tuned and you get a chance to see. Have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Bye. Now, when I was in Haiti all those years ago, and that's the early 1990s when I was there, when the country was under military rule, and in-between leaders had a few things that I brought back. Two of them that I still have. One of them I gave my father and has ended up back with me. The other I've been using for a long time. This one here is an ivory letter opener. Now, I know ivory is a bad thing to have and to collect, and at the time, I wasn't quite aware of what I was bringing back or importing back into the country. And I'm still not 100% sure that this is 100% ivory, but I did get a letter opener, and I use this almost every day, so it stays on. It's got an image on the end. So I brought that. And the thing I gave my father was this carved box. It says Haiti. And inside of it, I haven't changed the contents yet, but it's hinged. And my father kept it and organized stamps inside of it. So right now there's a few Netherlands stamps inside of it. Maybe one day I'll see if they're duplicates or not, but I've just left it the way it was, the way that I got it from him. So he used it for putting stamps in, so I'll leave some stamps in it. I like it that way.